Do or die. Timothy McVeigh tries to delay his execution, accusing the government of fraud. Will he ever be put to death? Firestone versus Ford, the latest chapter. Now the tire company is saying some Explorers are fundamentally flawed. In depth, first kids. The Bush daughter's in trouble over alcohol. Why growing up in the first family is hard to do. And Candid Camera, the truth about cameras at traffic lights. Rigged against you or saving lives? See what we found out.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
In other news tonight, there are stunning new charges that the most popular SUV on the road may not be safe, but those charges are coming from the giant Firestone tire maker in its increasingly bitter dispute with the Ford Motor Company. More on this now from NBC's Bob Kerr.
In what's becoming a legendary corporate war, Bridgestone Firestone retaliates today, the tire company president in Washington, asking the government to investigate the safety of certain Ford Explorer SUVs. This just 1 week after Ford recalls millions of Firestone tires on SUVs and trucks, the car maker claiming it's lost confidence in the tires. Today, Firestone fires back. Charges that tests by a vehicle expert show that 1996 and 2000 Explorer 4-door 4x2s are defectively designed. The tire maker claims drivers and passengers face increased risk in those Ford SUVs when a tire separates. Why? Firestone says it's because of oversteer, a condition where the front of the vehicle turns more sharply than the driver intends.
An oversteer condition is a dangerous condition, and it is a very difficult condition for the normal driver to control.
And escalating the rhetoric, Firestone adds that when tires fail, drivers should be able to pull over, not roll over, and that the Jeep Cherokee and Chevy Blazer tested better than Ford. In a statement late today, Ford says the Explorer performs the same as competitive SUVs before, during, and after a tread separation, adding, this problem does not exist with Goodyear tires. Ford's chief of staff last week.
Since Explorer was launched 10 years ago, it consistently has been among the safest sport utility vehicles in the class.
For its part, the Highway Traffic Safety Administration says tonight it must first review the information before it even considers a government investigation of Ford Explorers. Bob Kerr, NBC News, Washington.
The blame game between Ford and Firestone over scores of fatal highway accidents took a new turn today. As Cheryl Atkinson reports, Firestone said it has evidence there is something wrong with the Ford Explorer.
Firestone declared all-out war against Ford late today, asking the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, to open an investigation into the safety of certain Explorers. Firestone told NHTSA that tests by an expert at Ohio State University show certain Explorer models oversteer following a tread separation on a left rear tire and are not safe at highway speeds in the hands of an average driver. This must be regarded as a highway safety defect within the meaning of NHTSA's charter.
A defect does exist with a large segment of the Ford Explorer market. NHTSA said they will look at our data, they will examine, validate our data, compare it to any other data that they might have, and then make their decision.
This exclusive video obtained by CBS News offers a dramatic glimpse of the most violent reaction possible to a tread separation. The tests were conducted for lawyers suing Ford. When the tire tread separates, the professional driver barely turns the wheel and the Explorer swerves drastically out of control. The protective outrigger intended to keep it from flipping breaks, and it rolls. The driver, wearing special safety gear, walked away and back then challenged Ford's longtime claim that people should simply be able to control Explorers if the tread separates. But today he told us many SUVs oversteer when a tire tread separates, not just the Ford Explorer. And Ford reacted. We'll look at Firestone's data. Ed?
Cheryl Atkinson in Washington.
Firestone points the finger at itself. An internal investigation finds manufacturing problems and design problems are partially to blame for tire failures linked to dozens of deadly accidents. Sources say Firestone will also blame Ford for adding weight to the Explorer and drivers who drive with the wrong tire pressure. Cheryl Atkinson is in Washington with more on this story. Cheryl, good morning.
Good morning, Julie. Firestone's own investigation basically confirms the theory it's been pushing all along, that the tire crisis can be blamed on a complex mix of factors from tire design to the design of the Ford Explorer to driver error. As has been the case all along, Ford denies that its vehicles played any role in why there were so many rollovers and fatalities involving Explorers, and has turned over results of its own investigation to federal officials as well.
What about a root cause, Cheryl? Are we any closer to finding what the root cause for these tire failures was?
It really doesn't seem like it. This has been Ford and Firestone's story all along. What's more important is the investigation being conducted by federal officials from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Their key question is whether millions more tires should be recalled. And certainly Firestone's arguing against that, saying most of the problem tires were made at the Decatur plant and have already been recalled.
And the status of the federal investigation is at this point?
It's at least a few months away from concluding. It's been tough for the government to find independent experts and tire facilities to conduct their own tests. More than 4 months into the recall of 6.5 million tires, the government has now tallied 148 deaths possibly linked to the problem Firestone tires.
Cheryl Atkinson in Washington, thank you.